Just saw your message, 40. Get Schooled is in the thumbnail because I'm catching up. Like, I haven't streamed in a while, and all this stuff happened while I was busy. So, like, there's a lot to unpack, I think. Like, today's topic list is pretty interesting. Thanks to my um, thanks to my intrepid editor. Thanks to my intrepid editor. Today's topic list is really interesting and really focused, and like, there's a lot. There's a lot to like for me to catch up on. If you guys have something you want me to catch up on, let me know. Because like I missed a lot. Hey Crow, I haven't seen you in a while, mostly because I've not been here in a while. But I also just haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you. Good to see you. I am so tired. I am so tired. But I made sure to come back. I'm here for you. We're going to talk about Get Schooled? Yeah, because I'm late, dude. I'm late. I'm late on the Get Schooled drama. You know I'm late. I know I'm late. I know I'm late. It sucks. What was I going to call this episode again? I don't actually remember. I didn't have a name. Can someone give me a title? I don't want to name it the obvious thing. So, there's a title on the screen, but I don't want to. I don't want to use that one. Oh, yeah, I'll use this one. Why not? I'm using a stupid title. I got one. Paris, why are you awake for this? Paris, why is it that you wake up, feel bad, and you come here? Go to a doctor. Anyway, this episode is brought to you by my patrons on Patreon. Patreon is a really great way to ask me questions, talk about complex shit. Patrons right now are really helping me with a big video for which I will be actually using this stream to get some data for. So feel free to respond in chat with long responses when we get there, and you'll know when we get there, I'll tell you. And like, that's who's sponsoring today's stream, the patrons on Patreon. Love them all. Former and present, they've all been big supporters of the cause. Anyway, let's get into it. There's a lot of YouTube chat today. No Twitch frogs today. Cringe. Good day, good morning, and good afternoon. And it's also the middle of the night. And welcome to the Webcomics Hubcast, episode 14. Wrong title in the background. I gotta change that. It's episode 14. It's 14. Thank God. Thank you to Sola for making sure I keep on track with these. It's episode 14 to particle imbroglio. That's what we're gonna call it. That's the title I picked. There's a lot to like kind of get into for today. The topics are always going to be from now on just below me. I have gotten rid of the little thing I used to have there that would like give a live captioning. I'll keep that and figure out where best to use it. But for right now, we don't have that. Anyway, hello and welcome. Today's topics are going to be a pretty fun bag. We're going to talk about the current state of comic platforms. I think a lot has changed since the last time we did a comic platform video. And like, there's a lot I think we can break down and talk about just the people who are available, what they're offering, what they're doing, and their current states and financials where we can find them. I can only talk about one or two financials. I'll be level with you, but and the ones that I do know the internals of, I am an NDA to not talk about. So can't say much there. Anyway, and then after that, we're going to talk about the suspected AI comic, and we're going to talk about the Get Schooled racism situation. And like, those are the topics that we're going for today. Those are the three. If you guys have stuff, but I've been gone a while. So if you have things that I missed, right? Things that I didn't remember to talk about, feel free to like annoy me with them. Tell me to look into it. I want to make sure I kind of get up to speed because after this, I have to work on a really painful video. And that might mean that like next week's stream is very focused on something completely unrelated. Anyway, hello to everyone I haven't seen in a while. Hello, Max, Dawn, love to see you there. Hey, Crumbs, what's good? Hey, Sim, always happy to see you, Sim. Truly the light of my life, to be honest. And 41 and a half dongers, my buddy, my brother, whose house I need to go to get the AI Coke from. And Luxiva, the moderator in YouTube chat, who's never here, but is here today. So I'm going to take my W and go with it. Let's see what Paris said. The map made me feel terrible. I'm good otherwise. The nap made me just need to wake up a bit and drink some water. That's why it took so long to reply, by the way. Getting water. Good to know. Okay, on with the show. Let's start with the first thing. I think the easiest one to talk about is comic platforms because I don't want to give the thing that the title's clickable for at the beginning away. That's stupid. And you're not going to find it by scrubbing through the video. You asshole who's scrubbing through here to find something to get me on. Anyway, comic platforms, starting with that. The current crop of comic platforms, in my opinion, is very interesting, right? I think we've got like a very interesting kind of like spread of people who are left, following a lot. And when I say left, I mean people who have actual money behind them, people who have something they can prove, people who have shown me an app, and like people who are don't you dare. Don't give it away, but timestamp in the comments. I do really appreciate people who there was one video somebody did timestamps in the comments, like they did a full timestamp. I don't remember which one it was. I really appreciate that. If someone did that, I would just pay them to do that every week. I don't mind. Anyway, the current crops of competition in the webcomic space right now is very interesting, mostly because there's only a few people who are left at the end of this that have any, in my opinion, any real claim to the throne, any real possibility of winning. And and I think, okay, Luxivo, that's fine. And I think that it would be good to talk about them. And also to talk about the one that I don't think has any claim at all, but I think is a lot more interesting to talk about just in terms of its failure to be that. Okay, so let's start with the first and the obvious one. The usual suspect. Let me make sure my avatar is in the actual display room and showing up. The usual suspect, Webtoon. Webtoon is still number one. They still have a bunch of money, and like we both know, money goes a long way, and they've been using it a lot more than usual. In fact, like Webtoon has acquired there's a comic called The Girl Downstairs, and the comic called The Boy Upstairs is never gonna get old to me. Anyway, Anyway, so like Webtoon is currently spending some money on completed series. I think they've done it more than once now, that they've bought a completed comic off of Canvas and are putting that in the original section. No, I didn't get a show. I was just ignore me. Anyway, they're putting that in the original section. And I think that that's kind of an interesting thing. From a genuine, after speaking to people at Webtoon, which I've done a few times lately because of the lawsuit and a few other questions I had, I've learned a little bit more about the internals. Nothing has surprised me, so nothing has been beyond my expectation. But it has been interesting to see the behavior of purchasing these new completed comics. And I'm gonna level with you on a level where I'm not trying to like mess around or be reductive or whatever. I think it's fundamentally being done as a kind of, I don't want to use profanity this early in the video, but as a kind of dick swing, if you will. You know, they're doing this as a kind of like showing people up. I think what they're, because here's what I'm saying. I don't think most of these comics are getting big changes, at least as far as I've seen. I don't think they've gotten any big changes of the two I know about and the one I've seen that is also now out as an original. I don't think they're getting big changes. But what I have noticed about them is that it seems like Webtoon's playing the game of essentially letting their competitors know that they can't mooch off their content, which I think is actually a pretty smart business move, all things considered. It's not a strange thing to do. Webtoon is basically saying, hey, look, if you are looking through my Canvas section to find good stuff, too fucking late. I know all the good stuff and I can buy it even if it's completed. I can drop 50 grand like that on and not care. I think it's kind of their response to the increasing competition. And like it's not really beneficial for them. It basically walls people off from the content, and it doesn't benefit them or other people, but it benefits creators, I guess. They get money. That's kind of it. But for the market, I think it's kind of a toxic thing to do. I think it's fundamentally being done as kind of a dick swing. But for the market, I think it's not kind of like good, right? Like when you hoard one of the major resources of a webcomic market, the webcomic, and you showcase to your audience that you can your competition, that you can outpurchase them. You create an environment where essentially you're telling them, I'm the only one who can get the content. Now, is that going to be true? Probably not. It remains to be seen how everyone utilizes their money. And from what I know about a few other people, the money utilization is anywhere from not very good to, figuring their shit out. So we will see. We will see as things go on. But that's Webtoon's current state. They've pissed off a lot of people, but they're still maintaining market dominance just from sheer monetary power and from longevity. They have that time. They got that dog in them, if you will. They got that dog in them, and that's gonna go far for them, to be quite honest. And we can talk about our next group of people, Tapas. Tapas right now, I think recently, not right now, but very recently, was also doing a contest. I may have missed it and like completely forgot, but I somewhat remember they were recently doing some kind of contest to get new content. Tapas is still a very interesting platform. From everyone I know who's worked for Tapas, especially Jenny, friend of the show, Jenny. They are just a pleasant place to work. They're lovely. They're nice to the people that work for them, and they're supportive. They've been supportive of Heartstopper since it became a thing, and its success is something that they push, as far as I've been told. And they're generally supportive of other people. Look, it's my friend. It's Diamond Dive. It's Diamond Dive in there. It's my friend's comic. Anyway, they're very supportive of people in their community, and they're still maintaining that strong community focus. But fundamentally, the reads are going down, and they had that incident not too long ago with the porn on main. So it's an interesting situation to be in. New content is always coming out, and I don't think Tapas is ever going to lose value. As of right now, Kakao is basically trying to take Tapas and the other acquisitions it made and make a company called Studio Tapas. I don't really know what the context of the contest would be, Crow. I'm sorry. But I don't think you missed anything serious. But I think what I'll do is after I'm done with this, I'll look into it and we can talk about it as a group. I think Kakao is in the process of making Studio Tapas when they combine Tapas, Radish, the writing platform, and Wuxia World, the Chinese fantasy writing platform. And I think they're combining all of them into one place, making Studio Tapas. And from what I understand, it's led to a few layoffs, nothing crazy though, and a lot of movement internally. It'll be interesting to see how this all plays out, but this has been taking quite a while since the purchase. And Webtoon Webpad took about a year. Studio Tapas, I think Tapas was bought about I think last year. Was it this year or last year that Tapas was bought? I think it was last year. Maybe it was this year and I've just completely forgotten. But still, 2024 is going to be an interesting year for them because I think it will be where we see a lot of their Studio Tapasness kind of on display and like the kind of initiatives that they may be planning to do. I'm just going to read a little bit of chat. I feel like Webtoon really tried their best to get their grubby hands on Heartstopper and making it original, but they definitely promote the crap out of that comic despite not owning it. Yeah, it's really weird that Webtoon keeps pushing Heartstopper like it's their own when it's clearly a Wattpad, when it's clearly a Tapas-based comic. Like it came from there, it grew from there, and it gained its audience there. Webtoon was virtually non-valuable, and I think the only reason why Heartstopper is posting on Webtoon is the same reason why Sarah Scribbles posts on Webtoon. Just to access a bigger audience and get that bag, really. I think that's reasonable. Also, the contest is the Tapas contest is a romance-themed writers contest. and it's a lot and only lasts from now until December 31st. Jesus, that's like a very short amount of time for a lot of writing. Heartstopper is on Tumblr too. Yeah, good point. I completely forgot about that. I know that it's a thing because it's in the socials of the comic. Thomas says the readers might not know and they'll think it's a Webtoon series. That is true, but I don't know how many. The readers won't know it's a Tapas series for sure, or a Tumblr series or whatever. But like you're right, the readers will feel like it's a Webtoon comic or it's being redone on Webtoon for their pleasure, and I don't think they'll care. Webtoon has a big romance and like BL audience these days because they all left Tapas, so it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, um, let's talk about an unlikely competitor. Lemon. Now, I can't actually show you a lot of this. Actually, let me check something. No, I can't show you this. Lemon is an interesting one because Lemon literally just came out with their app. Their app is out. It's out. It's proud and it's loud. And I've used it a lot. I've actually read on it quite a bit. They're an app-only platform, so they have no desktop version, although they do have their studio for managing your comic. Fundamentally, everything's on the app. And when you use the app, it's not that bad. Like, I didn't hate it, I'll level with you. It has no dark mode. It has an interesting kind of look to it, and the way it like really focuses on its audience on its creators is interesting. The reading experience, though, I will say is just Webtoon. It's Webtoon, but a little clunkier. I would say that much. It loads fine, but like the reading page is kind of terrible. If I'm very honest with you, it's just a clunkier version of what Webtoon has. They do have some interesting looking content, like The Boy Who Murdered Love, which is something that I really wanted to read. I think it's from a creator called Azoria. And I really wanted to read it. And it does a little bit better than Webtoon, wherein when you're on Webtoon, you know how when you're on Webtoon and you open a comic, you see the oldest episode at the top. Le Moon shows you the newest episode at the top. Le Moon shows you the oldest episode at the top, which means that you've lost the ability of knowing if a comic is currently updating, but you've gained the ability to just start from page one. Is that much of an advantage? Not really, but they have done that. And oh, by the way, the entire comic is light mode, like white as the sun. Think original Webtoons, but like way brighter. It's actually kind of a pain. There's a lot of different languages on here, and honestly, I've liked using it, but I don't think it means that they're serious. Although I do think it means that they've gotten an injection of money that they have not talked about. Because making an app is expensive. So, like, that's something to bring up. So they've got an injection of money, but I don't think they're talking about it. Le Moon was always a for-creator program and a very down-to-earth group, and the people there are sweet. I don't know how I feel about what they're doing, but it's cute. It's cute to see. And I hope that at the very least they become second, third place in the game, if nothing else. Because it's always good to have competition in our industry, and they come with a very genuine heart that I think would really help competition. They have a lot of resources like the ones that I know the people I work with at Global Comics make, and they just generally are a cute group of people to know about. From what I remember, I haven't spoken to anyone there in a while, and I wasn't speaking to anyone like in a connections way. I just was in the conversation a bit. They're cute. They're lovely. Their app's good. Get a fucking desktop version though, you shitheads. I'm sorry to call you that, but I have to say it's frustrating that you don't have one. It's so necessary to like the user experience. Why would I download your app when I'm on computer? I know 20% of users are on desktop, but those 20% are your like power users. Give them that power. Anyway, let's talk about who are the other kids on the block. Namikomi. Now, I have a lot of thoughts about Namikomi. Some of them are good. Some of them are good. But for the most part, there's a lot to kind of break down about them. One of the first things about Namikomi that really strikes me is that their website is a one-to-one replica, at least to me, of what MangaDex was when it came right out of beta. It looks like MangaDex, it even clicks like MangaDex, and now, especially now that MangaDex has gone into what they call V5, it's not the same. But back when MangaDex was in what they called V3, the V3 version of the website, this is what it used to look like. Super similar. Everyone's been telling me things like they've been getting a lot of reads on here and they have a lot of activity on this website. But that doesn't really seem to like be what I'm seeing. It's interesting. they have the exact same fall off and drop off as every other platform. So they're not doing anything particularly interesting. This is my friend Joe's comic, Charming. Some of them are good and some of them are not so good, is what I meant to say. Anyway, but anyway, they're not different from anyone else in terms of raw numerical read numbers. And I'm being very upfront with you guys. This is exactly the same that I see on every other platform. Hell, I would say that it's comparable. It's a little lower or comparable, right? I think that a lot of what goes for them are their, what do you call it? This art page that allows you to just showcase lots of art around your comic, and their review section, which when used is very valuable. But like, I don't really see, like, I think star ratings are a very complicated thing to kind of put and have, but I don't think they're inherently a bad thing. And this is fundamentally how MangaDex's review system works. And if you don't believe me, I'm happy to show you. Here's MangaDex. I'm going to click on a random comic. I'm going to click on this one because I think this is safe. Here's what the MangaDex page does. Namikomi, much like MangaDex, has a chapter page which has a multiple language system built in, much like the way MangaDex's page is built. It has a comment section as one unified overall comment space there, much like MangaDex does. It has an art space, much like MangaDex does. And it has, not related, but MangaDex has a review system that they used to have, but it's been replaced with the comment section only and star ratings that they give out. It's a very similar website and there's nothing wrong with that. Oh, look, it literally links to Namikomi. I didn't even think it did. I didn't see that. At the bottom right, my avatar is blocking it. At the bottom right, it links to Namikomi. So that's good to know that they're related in some way. It's good to know that they're related in some way. Good for them. Either way, I don't think there's anything wrong with what they're doing or whatever. I don't think they've done anything wrong. I'm just pointing out to you that it's basically MangaDex for indie comics. Okay? So understand that if you're seeing a lot of technology and a lot of stuff in there, understand that they come with an inherent advantage over a lot of people. But I can't, and while the desktop version is very interesting to look at and very cute, I can't say too much about the app because it's currently in closed beta and I'm using it. And when something is in closed beta, you often cannot give any meaningful commentary on it at all because it's still under development and will take time. But it remains to be seen what that time is going to result in. I hope again that to some extent something good comes out of it. They're a great website in a lot of ways. And there's a lot of things people can learn from them. There's a lot of things I don't like about what they're doing. I think one of the ones that I don't like the most is their contests. This is the thing that pisses me off the most. So there's nothing wrong with using money to buy users. That's just platform games. But Namikomi's contest is built in such a way that you can actually just upload 3 chapters of your comic and fuck off. And you are eligible for every single contest as long as those 3 chapters get over 1,000 views. If you do that and you have decent art, you can upload 3 chapters of your comic, pump it for 1,000 views, and never come back, and you will probably still win one of the prizes. They get to choose if they give you the prize. But like, that's how they are. The contest is something that they talk about a lot, and I don't believe in these rolling contests. I should bring this up. I don't believe in rolling contests. Rolling contests are often just a way of making a very small amount of money go very far, right? That's all they're there for, making a very small amount of money go very far. But the problem is rolling contests are basically just what Manga Plus is doing, right? In a system where you can just deny people the money if you don't like any of the winnings or if you don't have any of the money on hand. I would rather a contest is a little bit more meaningful in how much money it gives me. Giving me $1 to $2 grand on one go and then never giving me money for a year is kind of a shit deal. I might as well go for a contest that will give me 10 grand and then not give me money for a year. Like, that to me is a better deal. And maybe the reason this is getting away with it is because there are no contests right now for comic creators that are offering a decent deal. So maybe that's why everyone's into it, but I'm not into it. And that's something I just wanted to point out. Secondly, I'm not really a fan of the general reading experience. Like, it's not terrible. It's not the worst reading experience I've ever had. It's fine. But like, oh God, well, I need to go to the front because that's a mature title. It's fine. But like, I think the future of comics and a good reader, oh, for fuck's sake, Let me read something. Why is everything mature? Why can't something be on here that I can just read? If you know that you're not gonna let people who've logged in read something without it being mature, then like don't fucking show it to them. Anyway, so here's what I wanted to talk about. While they are, for the most part, like fine in what they're doing in the back end, in the front, in some of the design, the reader leaves a lot to be desired in these two ways. One, the way that the images get compressed or stored is some compressed or stored is very bad. Like the when it comes out, it's blurry. This is a copy of my friend Joe's comic, right? It's so zoomed in. I don't know why it's so zoomed in. Like that's the default. I haven't changed anything. There's no login here. So that's the default. I can't even change the maximum width. It's to fit. I think that's why. Maybe it's because I put it on that. There, let's try that. So I can change that. But like, this is my friend Joe's comic. It's a really good quality comic, and maybe he didn't have the highest quality image, but zooming it in so much makes it look like shit. And maybe the way you're compressing, storing, and exporting it also makes it look like shit. And this is one of Joe's newer chapters. Like, Joe is not somebody who produces subpar work, but this is not making his work look good on desktop. And on mobile reader, it looks fine, but like the reader is about as limited as this, with a lot of the same problems that this has. I'm not a fan of the reading experience on this website. And I'm not saying, I need to be very clear. I work for Global Comics, but I also have a fucking like brain. I'm going to shit on whatever they do the way I will shit on whatever anyone else does, because that's my whole goddamn career, right? That's my whole online thing. I don't need the bag to justify my beliefs. So when I complain about these things, I'm not complaining about them to be a cunt. I'm complaining about them because I'm hoping they get better. Because like I don't like where it currently is. What I do like though about the website is how much of the website has all of these genre and tagging systems. Global Comics has a similar thing, and I've always been a big fan of strong genre and tagging systems. It makes sure that you can get hyper specific things down for yourself, and that's what people should be able to get. Because comics are basically a small influencer game, and small influencers should be able to reach their audience as specifically as they can without having to like do things in a way that is unconventional. I also really like their support subscription system, although I think it's lacking in a few ways, and I think maybe there's things that could be done to fix it. I don't think a subscription system that it changes from person to person is always a good thing. I think that leads to a situation where like you're going to have people with individual subscriptions that are way too high and kind of mess with the user experience. And I think a unified thing that allows you to pay out everyone individually evenly is almost always better, especially if you're offering things like reads, etc. And the problem with that system, though, that I just mentioned, is it requires scale. So there is that. The social tab is great. I think the Twitter concept is a great idea. I don't like it, though, because I'm going to level with you. I don't come here to use Twitter. I think a social system needs to be built into a comic ecosystem nowadays, and I think the current iteration of where comics should go, any good comic app worth its salt will eventually put a social system in there because it's valuable. But fundamentally, I don't think social systems in the comic app need to be built like existing social systems. And I have a lot to say about Namikomi because they're the ones doing the most. They're interesting and they're vibrant, and the people who work there have been nice to me and have been very kind in letting me learn about them at the time when I was doing that. They unfortunately have not responded to my DMs, but they did get me in the closed beta. So what am I gonna do? Fucking tell them to fuck off? No, I want to stay in the closed beta. I like exclusivity. Although if they do want to give me a sponsorship, I'm willing to take the bag, you know. Just saying. Maybe you can sponsor next year's Web Words and Pictures Contest 2024. Just saying. I'm just saying. Anyway. Ignore me. I'm being a dumbass. Anyway. Like, their Twitter setup is kind of goofy, and I don't really like what it's going on. I think what a comic social system needs to be is something that's a little bit... I like forums, but I think the forum needs to be very well, like, put into the system, very well installed. So there's probably a way to build a forum into this in a way that promotes conversation. Because the reason I like the forum over the Twitter is that Twitter has no permanence, but the forum would allow you to, instead of having these conversations, so like, you know how we're just talking about you can review a comic? What the fuck? I'm going back to the library. Okay. You know, I said you can review a comic, like you can leave a comic review. Sometimes you don't want to review a comic, but you want to discuss the comic with other people, not in a comment section. And I think some way of combining comments into some kind of forum would probably be the smartest move to go for, and what I would prefer. Um, Let me just read some comments from the chat. How are read? Oh yeah, this is some really cool stuff. How are the reads calculated? Are they like Webtoon by reader or by pages read individually? That's a really good question. On MangaDex, as far as I can tell, it's by pages read individually. And since this is aping a lot of MangaDex's code, it's likely very similar. And then also, thank you, Paris, by the way. I really appreciate that you appreciate me. That's very kind. And also, how would you give money to an artist using your platform without going original? Actually, I think that the way a platform should function is that an artist should be able to provide a product of some kind, and that can just be like their time, right? Like you can essentially have a Patreon style system where the artist provides a product. It's just, I think that there should be some way. The way to give money is not by creating an environment where like there's an inconsistent user experience all over. When you put in this support system where anyone can make their tiers and make their tiers cost whatever, that's inconsistent. But if an artist, if a user comes in and goes, okay, there's a subscription for some of these comics, and if I subscribe to these comics, it's always going to be $2.99, or I can support them by just giving them money and then as much or as little as I like recurringly. I think users are just a lot more willing to work with that kind of system. That's why Patreon works so well, in my opinion, because it gives people that experience of like, here's a product I can buy, or I can give this amount of money every month, as much as I want or as little as I want every single month. Which you can do on the patreon.com/webcomics Hub from as little as $1 a month all the way up. Just give it, it's a donate whatever. Anyway. Or the users are able to subscribe for a fixed fee. Like my Patreon is a $1 fixed fee minimum, right? That just makes it so that the user does not have an inconsistent experience. Patreon kind of gets away with this behavior though, because Patreon is Patreon, but Patreon also recommends very heavily to the people who use it to use certain amounts at certain tiers. Patreon always recommends that you have a $1, $5, and $10 tier. I don't have one because I'm me, but Patreon makes those recommendations because they're trying to push for a consistent user experience without having to force it. They're trying to nudge, and it's worked for them. It's worked really well because they got the biggest people doing it. So every time you learn about a Patreon, you make a similar thing. Patrons like mine, where like there's only a $1 tier, are usually discouraged, and Patreons where there's like really high tiers are usually discouraged. They only they tell you to only ever offer high tiers if you have products to give them that cost that much money. So yeah. This is free to read comics. Yeah, but like when you have those support environments, you actually can create a system where there is no need for free to read comics. So if somebody would support you on Namikomi, for example, and then went to your comics, they may be able to see an extra comic, or they may even be able to see more pages sooner because they're a supporter. A supporter is a valuable thing to put into a system. It's free to read comics, but you can always offer things for people who are paying. There's a way to offer, and it's not going to kill you. And it can even allow you to slow your kind of release rate to the public. Like, it's why I can do a stream once every random amount of time, because the patrons don't mind and support me every month. I didn't stream once for a month, and they still supported me. But for everyone else, and like for them, you know, they get the extra videos when I have the mental energy and time to make them. And I don't think that's unreasonable to do. I don't think that's bad. I think there's a lot of criticism to be made of most systems that come into this kind of like user-generated content, free content market for the people who are making free content to make money. But like, annoyingly, fundamentally, it's not very, all the criticism makes sense, but it's not very easy to make money when you have to offer a certain amount of your content for free. So I think as much as there are flaws with these systems, it's important to like talk about, to like not criticize them on the basis of like, at the end of the day, free to read content is there. Like, I don't think that means anything. And yeah, like Webtoons read the next episode with an ad thing, but instead of read the next episode with an ad, which I think ads are usually pretty bad for websites, read the next episode with some kind of payment is a lot easier. I think most people have kind of unlocked that part of their brain that allows them to pay $1, $2, $3, $5 for something, right? And like it makes it a lot lower of a lift, especially in this economy. To be honest, I still think there's an issue with the Patreon system. There's something missing still, but not sure what. I mean, I think the thing that's missing in the Patreon system is like product. One of my Patreons the Patreons that I subscribe to, one of the patrons I subscribe to, sends me mail. Like they send me physical stuff. And like I think a lot of people would like to be able to do that. I subscribe to it for $7.50 a month, and they send me physical stuff. They send me magazines, zines, like a bunch of other stuff, stickers. They're super sweet. They're called Zimmerman. I hope Zimmerman hears this. But they're super sweet and nice. And like they send me stuff for them. And I think that's what Patreon systems are often missing. But I don't think like the Patreon system in and of itself is kind of flawed or anything. I don't think that's like a fair viewpoint, in my opinion. But that's all I have to say on that one. Anyway, moving on from Namikomi, because we've talked about Namikomi for like 20 minutes now. Let's talk about my favorite website, JK. The place I work for, Global Comics. The app is out. The app is out. Get the fucking app. Anyway, Global Comics is a complicated website to talk about because, like, again, I work there. And I love the people that work there. They're my friends. And in a lot of ways, some of them are like my family at this point. But like, I think there's a lot to criticize. Is it out in Europe, the patron? Yes. Let me see. Before I go on, let me just see this chat. What bothers me though is when I make the payment and the platform still locks the episode after a certain amount of days. If I pay, I should own that episode and be able to read it 1,000,000+ times. Yes, I totally agree with you, Cassie. I totally agree with you. And I'm actually going to talk about that on this website. So we'll get to that. Anyway, yes, the app is out worldwide. It's everywhere. It's out. It's on your device. It's on your phone. I've been using it for months. It's great. Anyway, Global Comics is a website where I have a complicated set of emotions about it because, I work here, but also I have to make criticisms. And here's one of the, but I'm going to start with the positives first. Global Comics has the most varied kind of content. Although I wish that there was more of certain kinds of content, it's very varied. Everything from standard comic books to manga to webcomics to, to thick fucking graphic novels are on this website. And it's great. I think my favorite thing about that as well is that like I can buy some of these. I'm going to just kind of, hold on. I need to make sure I show you the right thing. Yeah, this one, I believe. Yeah, I can buy some of these. There it is. I can buy some of these. Like these are the Walking Dead compendiums. You might think that price tag is really high. And I completely understand that. These are 1,000 pages long. These are all 1,000 pages long and they cost $40. I think that's a reasonable amount of money to pay for some of these. But also, Global Comics not only has all these paid comics, it has a lot of free comics, which I like as well. I like that there is an option for people who are from a very different kind of background, who like very different content. And there's an option for people who would like just free comics online and would like to just support creators with way smaller amounts of money. It gives you the biggest fucking like shift of like biggest fucking gap of people, right? Because you can attract the nerds, you can attract the image comics, because we have image comics on the website, the Boom Comics people, Mad Cave, everything, all those fucking people, right? You can attract them with the comics and the graphic novels. You can attract the weebs with the manga. The weebs are here for the manga. There's more and more manga every day, but if you want one from a publisher, I think we've got Medibang on here, who are nice, and we've got Tokyo Pop, who are also complicated but nice people. They're nice people to work with. And like, there's a lot of indie manga as well, and some of them are paid and some of them are free. But the ones from the publishers are paid and the one from the regular creators are free. There's also a way for you to buy physical copies, and a lot of the people, like not through the website, through a link that the website kind of like embeds in. I don't know if that's working yet though. But a lot of people are very willing to kind of like engage with that. And like, so you come into a place where you can engage with a publisher that you like, but also dumb fuck that you also like. Because like, as much as there's like image and everything, there's also my buddy Joe. Where's Joe's comic? There. My buddy Joe, whose comic I'm going to use as an example again. And Joe's comic is here. I'm in the same place where I'm going to read my issue of TMNT and also my buddy Joe's comic. About the way people make money on Global Comics, it's actually very interesting. So you can make money in a few ways on Global Comics. I think it's relevant to talk about here. Global Comics offers its monetary system through the fact that you can get paid directly for people buying your comic, or you can get paid when people subscribe to the entire platform and read any of the comic pages you've put behind a paywall. which is great because it's just Netflix, in my opinion. It keeps things kind of simple, and it's just Netflix for comics. I think there's a lot of positive things around that environment. And I think it's created a very positive, supportive environment. And also, I like the reader a lot more. Actually, can I show you this reader? One second. I don't know if I can show you this reader yet. I need to log out. I need to log out. There, I can show you this. I almost showed you guys important proprietary software. Anyway, this is my buddy Joe's comic. And one of the reasons I'm bringing it up, comparing it to Namikomi, is that when Namikomi exported this page, the panic was golden. When Namikomi showed this page of Joe's comic, in fact, we're going to go to Joe's most recent episode. I think he's uploaded it on here as well. When Namikomi takes you to this page, blah, 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 blah. Let me just kind of get to the newest page. Oh, Joe! I need to yell at him for not being up to date. Anyway, so when Namikomi shows you Joe's comic, it's kind of like a strange situation of like the way the compression is, the way the image quality is. I personally do not like the way it looks. I think it just doesn't look as good as Joe's comic is. I think on Global Comics, they preserve a lot more of the quality. As you can see, there's fewer broken lines and fewer like fuzzy sections. I personally just prefer the way this looks, right? I prefer that it doesn't immediately zoom in too much. I prefer that when I want to get to the settings of my reader, like, where are the settings on this reader? I haven't used this one in a while. I just don't remember. Oh, there they are, up there. Settings on the reader, they're all here. There's a lot going on with the reader and it's being changed. But like, what I'm just getting at is, fundamentally, I kind of like the way this reads. And I kind of like the way everything looks. Now, let's talk about all the bad things. Because there's a lot of bad things to talk about. And I think it's good for us to get to them, like with everyone else. Bad thing number one, for me personally, it's not very obvious that there's webcomics on this platform. Like, I don't know about you, but it's never that obvious to me that there's webcomics on the platform. And there's a lot, it affects the way a lot of people perceive the website. The next thing as well for me is that the forum is generally never being used. As much as I said there's a forum section that, I say generally, I'm being a little bit mean, but like, the forum, in my opinion, just isn't as used as I would like it to be. I said earlier in the Namikomi section that I think a forum social section is a lot better than a Twitter social section. And like, I say that knowing that like, this exists and I still don't like this. I think there's a lot of ways it could have been integrated in the same way that this Twitter social section is integrated, because as much as I don't like this, it's very well integrated into the website. This is not as well integrated into the website, and there's a lot of work that could be done around it. I think that like it's a little bit of a cluttered website with things like news and commission. No, not news actually. That's more like site news. But things like commission taking up space, but not really doing anything, and maybe better off as its own separate location. I don't think it's doing anything bad. I just don't think it's being useful here. I think there's a lot of navigation things that you can bring up about the website, and people have brought them up to me, and I agree. I think it's a little bit of a confusing place to navigate a lot of the time. And I think that setting up has a barrier to entry that most other websites don't. But I think that getting through those is a lot more of a learning problem. And so I don't think it's the worst thing. There's a lot of growth that the website still has to have, but fundamentally, I haven't seen them use any of their time badly. So I've never like sat down and worried about it. And also from what I've seen on social media from a lot of you guys, they are very responsive. So throw my hands up, right? Ain't got anything to say about that. When a website is responsive, if a website's not perfect and doing perfectly well, but it's responsive, I can't complain, because responsiveness is what I would like. And people fixing bugs that annoy me is what I would like to see. So I'm always up for that. Also, if you have an account on Global Comics, tell me and I'll send you a message, because you can send messages on here. I can't show you my messages because there's confidential things in them, but you can message other creators if they allow you to, by allowing that on their accounts, which I think is super neat. YouTube used to have that, and when we lost it, we lost a lot of communication with our creators, and that sucks. Anyway, odd forum UI. Twitter has been going downhill a lot lately. I think it's kind of cool to implement the feature into a webcomic website. I don't think you're wrong about some kind of social. I just don't think Twitter is the move. I think there's something we could do that isn't Twitter. But maybe I'm crazy. Maybe Twitter is perfect and I'm just stupid. And like finally, the one I want to talk about next, let's talk about Shueisha. Let's talk about manga. Is it Manga Plus Creators that we're using? What's the one that we do the monthly awards on? Oh yeah, it's this one. Manga Plus Creators. This fucking scam website. Scam me as shit. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of this website for a lot of reasons. I think there's a lot of incredibly talented creators on here, but I just think it's fundamentally treated like shit. I There's no other words for it. I think that the website the people on here are not treated well. People on here are not treated well and are not given reasonable opportunities. Like I have seen people's comics fucking. Oh, that's actually crazy, Paris. I've seen people's comics fucking skyrocket, right? To the top of the contest of the entries and not get a contract of some kind. And it just feels like that contract doesn't exist. It feels like those awards that they promised, the top level of the monthly award, the gold award, doesn't exist. It just feels like the website is taking advantage of Western comic creators who are desperate to get into the comic industry. And like a lot of the people in the comments in this website are such assholes. Jesus Christ. Like a lot of the people in the comments in this website are so mean. And also, it's an easily botted website. I used to be like, wow, that's a lot of views. And then I found out that you can bot 300 views on a comic in one day and it counts. That's crazy to me. That's crazy to me. Am I crazy? I think that's crazy. It feels like they're just coming to Western manga creators and basically taking them for fools. Like they're taking advantage of them. Like they're never good enough. They will never be good enough. And I think that's a crazy website. I have no respect for this place anymore. I used to be like, whatever, I guess manga creators don't have a lot. But frankly, what's going on? Manga creators, you deserve so much more. You deserve so much more. Right? You guys, manga creators, you guys deserve a place to go. Like, go to Global Comics. At least it takes manga. Go to Manga Dex. I don't care. Just go somewhere else. Go somewhere and get treated well, man. Get treated good. Get treated good. Look, my man Thomas, free my man Thomas. My man Thomas, his comic is sitting there September 5th. Didn't get shit. Did not get anything. I don't even think anyone won that month. What's going on, dude? What's going on? What's going on? Come on. This comic's really got it right. That's a whole lot of ass right now. So dumb. Anyway, one of the things I should say that's really positive that I've seen across all of the manga, all of the comic websites, right? All of the comic websites has been that all of them are a lot more embracing of more adult-oriented content. Not adult content, not porn, but a lot of them are a lot more lenient on having more risque content, which is good. I think it's a good thing. I think that's a very good thing that a platform should strive for. Because like as much as the audience for Webtoon is still 13-year-olds, a lot of them have grown up over the past couple of years. And a lot of them are now 17, 18, 19 and up. And you want to be able to make sure that those people don't feel like they've outgrown a website and outgrown a platform and leave. One of the reasons why online manga websites manage to maintain their power hold so much is because they not only have things like Hunter x Hunter and freaking Naruto, they quite literally will have other things like, like Genius, The Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, and like freaking, what's a manga that's kind of adult but not like porn? What's one that the adults are reading? Tokyo Revenge. I think that's got a manga. You know, it's got things that people want to read as they get older. It's got like things like Vagabond, as well as all the other things. That, you know, that's an interesting relationship there. And I think that content needs to be able to cater to those people. Do I think they should be all on the same goddamn website? I don't think so. I think there's a way you kind of set that up so that kids don't end up seeing quite literally some guy getting decapitated in Vagabond, but or some girl's boobs. But like, there's a route there that exists. I just don't know what the route is right now, but I'm sure I'll probably have some thoughts on it in a few months and talk about it. Anyway, that's all the comic platform stuff that I know about and I have thoughts on. Please hit me with your thoughts on my thoughts. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm stupid. Maybe you guys think I've just been wrong this whole goddamn time, right? Maybe you guys think I'm a genius, you know, a next level. You know, they call me. I can't think of a smart person. Fuck. Manga in general, I think, stays strong in the industry because it has a wide variety of genres. That's true, Inky, but I think manga is really pushed 90% by the fact that it has had free advertising for 20 years. Manga is so popular now because none of you remember what manga was like when I was a kid. Like reading manga online made you the weird person, right? Reading Naruto was not a normal thing to be doing online. Watching Naruto online was not a normal thing to be doing. People made fun of you. People didn't take it seriously. Manga has endured because it's got 20 years of free advertising, and I don't disagree with you. It also approaches a very wide audience. It can appeal to almost everyone because it tries to, much like webcomics do, which is the reason why webcomics are in a major boom. True. Honestly, Inky, you right. I'm wrong. I'm sorry. When I was a kid, like you're not in your 20s. I'm not in my 20s. Why do you people think I'm a child? God, back in my day. I remember when manga was still right to left. Back in the good old fucking days before you kids came here and ruined it with your fucking baseball and your freaking fleek and your, what'd you call it? Baby Gronk. Baby Gronk. Did you know Baby Gronk is hitting on Lizzie? No cap, for real. I'm not the same age as Laura-chan. I'm older than Laura-chan. I thought I was the same age as her. I'm older than her. They printed it flip pre-Tokyo Pop. That's true. They used to like flip it. I have a what do you call it? A Shonen Jump Advanced issue of iShield 21, and like it's flipped as well. Back in my day, if you read left to right in manga, they would tell you off, rightfully so. Tell them about it. Tell them about it. 40. Oh wait, you're a child. Fuck off. Anyway, we're out here struggling. God, the first time I read One Piece was on Manga Reader. MangaReader.net. Is that still available? Let me see. Let's see if the old haunts are still here. 1 second. Let's see. Yo, wait. Yo, is it still blue? Is it still blue? Come on, load. Oh no, the website's not going anywhere. Let me just Google it. No, it can't be gone. It can't be gone. No, it's gone. No, my home. No. Okay, is Manga Fox still there though? I'll take that. Yo, Manga Fox is gone? Wait. Yo, this is the worst. This is the worst fucking day of my life. I give up. Manga Fox is gone, dude. What happened? No, this is the worst. It's now called fanfox.net. It's got manga on it still, though. It's got the old logo. It's still got the old logo. Oh. It's also in bright mode instead of in dark mode, and it's got an app. The Manga Zone app. This is what we finding out in 2023, dude. Oh, the one-shot thing? I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to talk about that. I'm so mad, but I don't want to get mad. I don't want to get angry. I will say this. I think in the current state of online comics and manga, we're in a really good spot. You're in a really good spot. Like, I want you guys to know this. This is the most hopeful this show has ever been, ever. Right? We are all in a really good spot. This is when industries get this saturated with not only real competitors but a bunch of meaningless nobodies, right? This is the best the industry gets, because you know what usually happens when this happens? Crazy amounts of money gets pumped in, day out into the industry, and that usually leads to a golden age. Now we're in the middle of a recession, so it's not going to be as much money as we want, because unlike movies, we're never fucking lucky, are we? But it'll be money. It'll be good money. And if we can ride this out a few years, it'll be great money. I promise you. Okay? I promise you. That's usually what happens to industries when this happened. This happened when gaming got so many companies post the video game crash of the 1980s, when so many companies were in games and they were all making good quality stuff. And right now we're in a similar thing. It's going to be so good for us. I promise. I promise. Let's see. Speaking of old, I have the first printed Iverlock book in print from way back when. So sad to see the author using AI now. Yeah, it's so cringe. Speaking of AI, can we talk about the racist comic first? I'm gonna not spend too much time on this, but I actually do want to ask you guys a very genuine question. Um, I want to ask you guys a very genuine question, and this is very real. People, real talk, real talk right now, right? Have you guys have all seen the Get Schooled situation? You guys have all seen it. I'm literally just going to go to the one panel. It's in the thumbnail. I'm not going to waste your time. I am going to talk a little bit about some of the information around this. But all of you have seen, all of you have seen my man's. I claim him. Yes, I do. My man's out here. Oh, that face. That face. Love it. Anyway, okay. Get Schooled is a very weird comic. I've tried to read it. I'm not a fan. But I spoke to people who have properly read it and read it for a long ass time. And I would like to like break down a few things from what I understand. This is a very, but I think I've said this before in the stream, but I'll say it again. The comics that you make often belie the political beliefs that you have, whether you do them intentionally or not. And it doesn't mean that every character in your story is going to politically align with you, but it means that who your villains and who your villains and who your good guys and who your bad guys are, right, will be very much built around the kind of things that you believe. And I'm saying all these things because it's very important to the conversation we're going to have today. Um, in 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 True Education, which is the name for the translation, or Get Schooled as we're calling it. In Get Schooled, there's a very strong authoritarian ideal going through here. It basically runs through the comic that like they're essentially like an authoritarian group of people who want to change the way students are behaving and essentially run this group, this audience of people who essentially make schools unbearable, stamp out nonconformity, and generally want to create a worse environment for students who do not agree and align with their beliefs. This chapter comes inside of a chapter where that spouts a lot of far right Korean propaganda, and I don't think it's because the artist or the writer or whoever in the group believes in this propaganda. It's been very much set up, as far as I've been told, that these people are bad. Like they are bad guys. Contextually, they are bad people, right? And that their way of handling things is wrong. Okay? But like the way this chapter was handled and the context of what this chapter is talking about, even though clearly I think the authors think that what these people believe is bad, I think that the authors handled it poorly. So, what am I talking about with Korean far right propaganda? This is not a Western thing, and I think it's very important to say. A lot of really stupid people online don't like to believe that Eastern and Western ideology about a lot of things is the same. It's exactly the same in a lot of ways. The only difference is the words you use to describe things. Like, that's it. Like, as long as you fundamentally understand that, nothing is that different, because as someone who's moved almost everywhere to almost every one of all 6 continents where people live, and like somebody who has lived around almost every type of person, people everywhere are fundamentally the same. They have very few real differences. The only difference is really what they look like, and like there's the cultural things about like what they do culturally and the words they use. But fundamentally, the things they say are the same. Like where I grew up, people wouldn't tell me that I was left wing. People would tell me that like I was a people pleaser. It doesn't mean the same thing it does in English. And like that's just a very different way of approaching. And that's a very surface level difference, but it's a very different way of just showing like it's a way of just showing like it's a very different way of approaching these ideologies. Anyway, when it came to these characters, yeah, it's been set up that people like him are bad people, like throughout the entire story. This chapter in a vacuum does not showcase it, but throughout the entire story, it is set up that these people are bad people. I will say that to their credit. The way the art has been used to emulate people, though, is very bad. And that's a major issue. That's a major key, as DJ Khaled would say. And so, like, here's a problem with this character for me. Mark! Love you, Mark. Mark, have you seen that? I just scrolled, my bad. Fuck. I just scrolled down. I was putting my hand on the mouse to move it. Anyway, like, here's a major key about this chapter for me, is that there is a political ideology in Korea right now from some far right political individuals that are basically saying this, that in the countrysides of Korea, women are having a lot of kids with foreigners, and those foreign kids are bullying any pure Korean children. It's one of the far right ideologies currently in the millions of them in Korean politics, right? That's where a lot of this problem comes from. And from what I understand from people who live in Korea who I've spoken to about this, the author has been the author has been in a very similar situation, pushing a very similar thing. I don't think the author believes in these things. I think he's just trying to find a storytelling device, and he's been influenced by media and what people have said. But like fundamentally, it is very strange to see a far right political ideology in this comic. No, it's not that strange, but it's very strange to see it so openly and brazenly out in this comic. And the thing is, you can tell me all you want that there's a cultural difference between us and them, but they are not, as a writer especially, and you are all writers in the chat, you're going to tell me if this is true. Do you use a concept from a different location without looking it up? Yes or no? This is a very simple question. Do you use a concept from a different location without looking it up? Do you? Do you use, like, there's a concept in like what do you call it? There used to be a thing. I don't know if it's actually true, but there used to be a thing I was told by some of the Chinese students I went to school with, that like when you're upset at somebody who's a Westerner, you call them wide eye, which I think is like guaylo or something. Like, that's supposed to be a slur. That's a very culturally relevant slur. Now, if it's not true, that doesn't matter, because the point I'm getting across is just like, when people are using those languages or using those things, you need to contextually understand where they're coming from. And so, dropping an English word, by the way, it's English in the Korean release too, by the way. Dropping an English word like that, even censoring it, knowing how bad it is, and using it the way it was, it's not a failing of you to set up this guy as a villain, because there's a lot of things you failed to do in this comic. It's just a major failing of you as a writer to fucking think. That's it. That's all it really is. It's a failure of you to think. And it bothers me that this comic has gotten this far. But I think this comic is a symptom of a wider problem. And the thing I'm working on a video for, so I'm now about to pose a question to you, right? I think that this industry is full of people who draw white people exclusively and who draw white people exclusively, have only white characters, and generally push the whiteness as a default behavior. And so when we got to this comic where they draw the black person looking like this, and which, like, I don't think is like a bad drawing, but is made to clearly make him look extra evil, and they generally and they draw the black character looking like that, and they generally were willing to drop a slur on Maine. Whereas if I told them I wanted to drop a Korean slur on Maine, they would get mad at me, or a Japanese slur on Maine, Japanese people would get mad at me. I think that this is a symptom of just an industry where the whiteness is so default that when you're not white, you're not people enough to be respected. And I mean, you're not people, you're just not people enough to be respected, right? Like, they wouldn't make this comic and make fun of white people. That's not a thing that they would do and sell. On a comic from YLab, YLab is studio owned entirely by Webtoon, which only makes their high quality content like Jungle Juice. I think they make Jungle Juice, I'm not sure actually. But YLab is a studio that tried to make the multiverse of comics thing for like a few years ago, right? From a studio with that many people, that many layers of work and of working individuals and people to research and check into these things, I think that genuinely when you're not white, a lot of people in comics do not think you're befitting of the respect that you need. And this isn't the thing I just see in this comic. And I say comics, I mean comics as a whole. Because another example that comes to me is the Boys comic, where the characters thought that the worst thing that one of the white characters could say is drop the N-word. And by the way, it's not functional in that comic. It does nothing. It does less than nothing. And so, like, it's just a general thing there. So my question to you that I'm getting to, and I'm just going to say it now. My question to you is very simple. Why do you as artists and writers and whatever only make white characters? Why is everyone white? And I want you to not give me a weak answer. I want you to give me a very genuine answer. I don't want you to give me an answer that comes from a place of a lack of understanding. Now, I will say this also. There's a follow-up question. Why is it that when you draw people who are non-white, they have to be like non-humanoid? They have to be non-humanoid, or they have to be like some kind of humanoid non-human, like a walking cat. I didn't mean to call you out, Paris. That's not you. I'm just using an example. Why do you do that? I want to know. And like, I'm very happy for you to DM me a 5-paragraph reason why. I'm not going to be mad at you. I just want to understand you, right? Because I want to know if this anti-blackness is like an older generation thing, a younger generation thing, or if it's like a lack of awareness thing, or if it's just systemic. And it's so broad and so deep and so far-reaching that most people don't realize that they do it. That's the reason I'm asking you. I've asked a few people this question before, so if I've asked you before, don't feel the need to answer. But for everyone else, I would like you to think about it. I would like you to send me an answer. It doesn't have to be right now, okay? Cool. I am going to now drop this and leave this alone. I don't want to think about this anymore, but I will probably use this guy's face as a reaction image in chat. If you guys want me to make this an emote in Twitch chat, let me know. That's kind of it for me on that one. I mean, okay, pretty much every character you make is basically you, so it's a default. Very fair. I think it's okay, no, very fair. I'll take that on. I should point out, by the way, I'm not gonna make any comments on most of what you guys talk about in relation to this question today. I'm gonna save these for a later point when I make a better, more well thought out comment. I'm not here to judge you, and I don't think I need less of you because you do certain things. Okay? Just to be clear. I will respect you and I will anonymize anything you tell me. But I would recommend that you don't write it in chat if you want me to anonymize that. I recommend you DM me that on Discord. You know my Discord. You're in my Discord server. Discord, it's discord.webcomicshub.co.uk if you want to get there. And you can join, find me, and DM me. Let's see. I used to make most, if not all, my characters white as a kid because same, it was the default, but now they're getting melanin. Lol. I peeped that in a lot of comics, and a lot of authors are not black, so of course they don't like to properly represent black people. I mean, I kind of do, Cassie, to an extent. To your point is the only one I'm going to talk about. I kind of do to an extent, Cassie, only because we live in the future. You live in an infinite canvas of the world's, of everybody in the world. And you draw the exact same white person and the exact same body type and the exact same character type. Why? You have the limitless ability of the human brain and you're this basic? Like, fair enough. There's nothing wrong with being basic. I'm just confused. Like, unironically, I'm just confused. I understand if it's like based off of you and built off of you. And there's just a certain kind of oneness to your comics that comes with you being the default character that is just you. So I'm not like judging you for that. I just think it's basic. But like, it's your life. And you're allowed to be basic, and there's nothing wrong with being basic. Also, I shrug a lot in these streams when you guys aren't looking. I shrug like a lot in the back, but none of you can see them. And I don't know why I do it. Should I just make a shrugging character model so I can shrug on stream? Or should I just start putting my face on stream? One of these things has to happen eventually. I mean, I'm making a toon tuber, so maybe that'll work. Anyway, let's talk about today's main topic, main affair, if you will. Main galdom judged. Yeah, I'm making a toon tuber. Main galdom, if you will. Can we talk about my favorite comic of all time? You guys know what that comic is called? It's very important. I wasn't going to talk about this comic. I want to say clearly, I was never going to talk about this comic. I had resolved to never talk about this comic. I had had conversations with people that were just like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to let this one cook. I'm going to leave this one alone. I don't care. I have read, as you can see, all 4 chapters. Okay? And like, I'm going to show you guys the thing that really cemented a lot in my brain. It's in chapter 4. It's in the middle of this chapter when she's talking, when I forget her name, I think her name's Alex or whatever, is talking to Boy. Alex is talking to Boy. And like, she holds her phone in her hand and she's basically trying to get him to feel what she's feeling. And that is the moment where I think I'm going to pick the conversation up from. Trust me, there's other moments, but that's the one. Here's the thing, and I'm not even joking. Here's the thing that broke me specifically. His name does not matter. His name is irrelevant. He is basic white boy number 4. This is the thing that broke me specifically. So let's talk about this comic. This comic is called Quantum Entanglement. Quantum Entanglement is currently embroiled in a very complicated conversation wherein a lot of people in the community, creators, readers, etc., are claiming that this comic is AI generated, if not AI assisted. This is a Webtoon original comic that came from Canvas from the creator Arts Angel, who has created previous work, one of them that was already in the Webtoon call to action contest called Personal Demons. They've made another comic called Immaterial, Quantum Entanglement, and it seems they have a very sizable audience. And I'm not saying that to fuck around with them. I really liked reading this. As you all know, I read every single CTA comic. I really enjoyed reading Personal Demons, and I think even on stream, I mentioned Personal Demons as a thing that like I liked, and it just lacked a little bit of a few things here and there, but I fundamentally enjoyed. Yes, she does draw the Disney face, but she does draw men differently most of the time. Her men in Personal Entanglement are a lot more visually interesting, albeit same white guy, than everything else. So I will point that out early front. I love the faces of the two guys. I love that they look different. I love that they don't have the same thinned out nose because that no white people have. I love a lot about this comic. Anyway, so I'm saying that to kind of preface because I want you to know that I know who they are, that I have read their content before, and that I have not come into this conversation with any vitriol yet. All of my vitriol really much genuinely, honestly started here. This panel changed my entire fucking mind. So the AI accusation is very complicated, and she's been very careful in the language that she's used to talk about this comic. Sarah, that is her name. I'm not going to call her Arts Angel because she's a human being. Sarah has very much insisted, even in her own comic, that they are not using AI to generate their comic. Very specific language. The comic is not AI generated. In fact, I'm going to take you to that exact section of her comic because I don't want to put words in her mouth. I want to make sure that she is heard for what she is saying. Sarah has posted not only an art process picture, this is an art process picture, but also said specifically, "Hello, thank you for reading my series. My name is Sarah Ellerton, and I have been creating comics on web and in print," that is very true, "for 20 years, including the award-winning Finding Gossamer series." It actually is a good comic. "My comics are not generated with AI. You can find tutorials, processes, and reels on my Instagram page." These are all true. And so, y'all are gonna love this one. If you guys loved, I watched all 3,678 web call to action comics, you're gonna really love my next statement. I watched all of her reels, all of them. I watched every single one of her comic reels, every single one of her reels. I looked at every single one of her Instagram posts. I watched the video she posted on YouTube, even though I was avoiding this goddamn thing, right? And I scrolled through the entirety of her Twitter to find every single piece of information I could about the way she makes art, how it's changed, etc., etc. And the webcomics that she's posted on the website do the best on Webtoon, still do the best job of showcasing the evolution of her comic art over the past 2 years, 2 to 3 years, 2 years. Okay? So I want that to be clear that I did the fucking legwork. Okay? I did the fucking legwork. I put the time in just to be upfront. I don't want anyone to say that I haven't looked into that. Okay? Cool. So, let us begin. Sarah Ellerton's comic, and I say this with genuine fucking love, Sarah. I say this with a lot of very honest love to you. Your comic is AI assisted, or you are not able to keep up with Webtoon's time restrictions and demands. These are the only two options that are available for the person who, and I'm going to bring one of the panels you've probably seen, and I'm saying this to Sarah directly because I assume she looks up videos about her when people tell her, or I assume some original is going to kind of use my video to make a point or whatever. Anyway, Sarah, when your comic has like straight up rough outline art on it, and like the rendering is a little inconsistent, etc., I can only assume one of two things. The schedule that Webtoon's got you on is absolutely destroying you. It's destroying you, destroying your concentration, destroying your time. It's making it super difficult to just kind of like create, right? Because some of these mistakes don't make sense. Like there's a big visual focus on this character and this character. I'm assuming it's because you're trying to show the camera flying through the audience of people all the way to the back. But it's really strange when we get all the way to the back and a lot of those people and bodies that seem to be around her are gone. And like the background characters are randomly fully drawn and colored or like a black blob. There's an inconsistency here that I just do not think that an intentional creator would make, right? So that's what I'm saying. There's only one of two options, Sarah. Either this schedule is absolutely kicking your fucking ass, which is not okay, and you should be requesting they give you a better schedule, or your comic is AI assisted. I don't think it's AI generated, and I've seen your art long enough to know that your art is some of the best things coming out of the industry right now. Even back in 2022, when you were doing your call to action entry, and even before that, you were a fucking fantastic artist. So, no, the technique is not the blur, Thomas. The technique's not the blur. The technique's not the blur. Sorry, not the blur. The AI is not the blur. I wasn't calling the blur AI. That wasn't the thing I was commenting on. Don't misunderstand. Anyway, like there's just a lot of inconsistency in the work, and the one that has gotten me personally isn't this first page. The one that got me personally and that convinced me that the inconsistency is there's a lot of inconsistency was the phone. But I'm going to show you something before the phone that might convince you that the inconsistency can only be from somebody who is overworked or from somebody who is making AI generated, who's got AI assisted content. This phone is not straight. I don't even know why it's not straight. Like this phone is not straight. The body of this phone is not straight. It begins here and technically ends here, and then the new body is generated after that. I've looked at this panel for ages. This phone is not straight, and it doesn't make sense because it's a rectangle tool. It's a rectangle tool, and even if it was going to be wonky, it wouldn't be wonky in the middle of the phone. It would be wonky on either end. But even if you don't want to believe me, maybe you're looking at me and going, this is a bit weird. And maybe you think the deadite stairs are fine, right? Like, maybe you think the deadite stairs are fine. The thing that also gets me is why do her feet blend into each other? You do such thick, very purposeful line art. Where is it? Like, I don't think you're a bad person, and I don't think you've done anything wrong. I just think it's a little bit weird that like there is just an artistic inconsistency everywhere in your work. Like it just pops up randomly. Sometimes a character has a necklace and then the necklace vanishes into nothing. Like you've probably seen that conversation. And it's not that the necklace goes away, like you didn't draw it. It's like it's still there, but the wrong shape, panel to panel. Like that's not normal. That's not normal. That's not normal. Sometimes the lighting is super inconsistent and weird. Sometimes like the character's like hair moves in a way that doesn't seem to correspond with. That's totally okay, Cassie. Sometimes, I'm not showing you anything, by the way, when I'm talking about. I'm just talking in general. I don't want to like pick panel pick this comic because I don't think it's worth it. If you want to see panel pickings, go to the Reddit. You can go to the Reddit, you can see them. Sometimes the hair is not consistent from panel to panel. Sometimes the character's hands do not make sense. Like I've seen the way you draw hands, Sarah. I've seen the way you draw hands. I just want to understand like why they've changed greatly in this one. And I don't think she's doing anything wrong. I don't think she's evil or bad because she's using an AI assisted comic. I think the problem fundamentally for me is that I feel like I've been taken for a ride. You know, I feel like I've been taken for a ride. I feel like I've been taken like as if I'm too stupid to see it. You know? Like it's either, and I say it's very simple, it's either that your schedule's kicking your ass. This is your first 5 chapters, and your schedule has to be kicking your ass. Or you've used some level of AI assistance. Either one is fine. Either one is fine, Sarah. There's nothing wrong with that. And also, I need to point out the video she posted. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys this. I'm going to show you guys this because I think it's relevant to bring up and just like show you. I don't think she's gaslighting people. And I want to be clear. I don't think Sarah is a villain. I need to make this like super clear, right? I do not think Sarah is a villain. Like, if you think she's a villain, that's a you thought. I don't think she's a villain. I don't think she's done anything wrong. I don't think she's bad. I think she's just human. Anyway, like, if that still bothers you, and like, if none of the stuff I'm talking about convinces you, and none of the stuff on the internet convinces you, I'm going to just showcase this. This is a real-time process demo of her drawing a half-body character, right? Including all of her rendering and her backgrounds. And it's genuine. It's real. It's all there. But like, the eyes just look completely different, Sarah. But more than that, and more relevantly than that, is that this took you 30 minutes. This half body, no hands, I believe, has no hands at the end. Yeah. This entire video this half body took you about 30 minutes. Oh, why did it crash? The video crashed. Oh my God. The video crashed is there. Yeah. This half body image took you about 30 minutes. So that means whenever you draw any 2 half bodies in your comic panels, because they're about as detailed as this, and you're saying this is about as detailed as you make your comic, from what I'm understanding from the information you're giving me, that like, this took, like, when you have 2 half bodies, they take you an hour. 2 half bodies take you about an hour. Including backgrounds, which I know you're using like a photo, kind of, and a filtered image, filtered photo in the background, but that still takes a little bit of time. So any half body panels are taking you about an hour. Any just face panels would probably be taking you anywhere about 30 minutes. Any full body panels, and I wouldn't say all of them. This is me picking like averages here. Any full bodies may take you about an hour and a half. So low end, 20 to 30 minutes. Top end, hour and a half. I'm trying to give that. In fact, let's reduce the time. Low end, 20 to 30 minutes. Let's say low end, 10 to 20 minutes. 15 to 25 minutes. Like those totally fine, by the way, Thomas. There's a lot of detail on the Reddit. I don't want to bring a bunch of pointer things up here. I just want to like get to the topic. You can get to the Reddit and you can see the dozens of posts where people showing consistencies, and you can see things from like color changes, hair changes, line, like just sometimes the hands aren't drawn in properly, like little things that are small. And like sometimes the rendering isn't consistent. You can see that if you read the comic and you give it some time. And I recommend you do, because maybe I'm crazy and I'm not seeing something that you are seeing. Okay? Maybe I'm fully crazy and like this does not make sense. But like what I see, when I see things like this hand down here, which does not make sense for somebody who's put this much detail and time into drawing this, right? When I see this, it just tells me that either your ass is being kicked in terms of your timing, and you're having to make a bunch of shortcuts, which is not okay, and you don't deserve that. Or your comic is AI assisted. It's r/webtoons with an S. Your comic is AI assisted. And I don't think either of these are bad outcomes. Also, why does the wire look like that? That's really weird. Anyway. And like, I should say real quick, I don't think there's people are not angry that this is AI assisted, by the way, just to be super clear. Although I don't think 3D models and AI assisted content are even similar, but I don't think people are mad that this is AI assisted. And I want to get into like the rights part of this and also into like the anger part of this. I'm personally upset because I feel taken for a ride. I feel not taken seriously. And I feel like if there was AI assistance in this comic, it just was not admitted. When admitting it is fine. I think it's completely fine, right? For a work this detailed and time intensive, yeah, AI uses Sam's work a lot. That's very true. Like, it uses Sam's work. It also uses a lot of work that's similar. So I don't think there's anything wrong. But like, what I'm just trying to get at with this here is like, the work she's doing is crazy. Her rendering is time intensive, etc. Right? What upsets me is just I feel like you could have just told me it was AI assisted, and I would have moved on. I would have moved on and not cared. But when it takes this long, when you just don't admit something straight up, When people keep seeing things that make them feel like something's inconsistent, and they're making dozens of posts on the community forum, and like they're sending me fucking emails in the middle of the night, like I think it's saying to me that something's up, and like I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, dude. I don't know what it is. Your ass is either getting kicked so hard by the schedule, or you're not, or your AI assistant your work. And I don't think either one's fine, but I think you need to say which one it is very clearly and like just stick with that. That's it. That's fundamentally fucking it for me, right? Now let me just talk a little bit about rights, like just really quickly. Right now, at this very moment, which I'm gonna actually use this time to bring this up. You need to go, but everyone's here. I'm gonna use something to bring this up. You need to go, by the way, and I'm gonna post this in chat. Let me just get my email opened. You need to go and make a comment on the U.S. government's AI policy thing. You need to go make a comment about it. You need to go make a comment about it. Jesus. You need to make a comment on the U.S. government's AI copyright.gov. Go make a comment. Go. This is the place. This is an artificial intelligence study. Let me transition screens. It's an artificial intelligence study done by the U.S. government. The link is in chat right now. The link is in chat, and it will be pinned underneath this video. Go make a comment here after this stream. There's a bunch of rules, but it's very important. Usually the US government is asking for comments on anything like studies like this before they make major policy. So you want to be getting your comments in, and you only have until the 30th of this month. Please make one. I will write a sample one today, and I will post it, and then you can copy and paste it if you agree with it, okay? But I just think that we should be making comments and saying more as artists. And I'm putting this here again. This is probably one time people are going to be seeing all of my stuff. And we're talking about AI. So here. Anyway, I don't want to influence your comments. I just want you to say something meaningful. That's all I want to say. Anyway, back to the thing. Back to the whole quantum entanglement thing. I don't think people are mad about the use of the AI, but let's talk about the AI rights situation and why I think it's an actual problem. Okay, so I'm going to start talking about Global Comics. I work there. On Global Comics, we do not stop you from posting content that has AI-generated work in it. Period. But you need to tag and self-identify that you are using AI-generated work, an AI-generated story, or AI-generated art. Even if it's only some or all of it, you must always say that you have used it. You have to. It's the only way to use the website, because content that fits into those molds does not have any copyright over it, right? Or the copyright situation is so complicated that like actually letting you get money for it is dubious as fuck. And here's where I want to go. The AI law that's most likely going to get passed following this is going to be something that resembles the law that happened when a man let a monkey take a photo with his camera. When a man let a monkey take a photo with his camera, it went into public domain because copyright can only be held by a human who made with the fact that a human had to have made the thing. A human had to have created the thing, right? So when that monkey took a photo, it went into the public domain instantly, because a human did not create it. AI content is in a way where the AI is doing a majority of the work, and as such, that AI is generating the content based off of everything that it studied before, which puts the work that it makes in a situation where nobody owns it. It's free. It's like open. It's basically like, public domain content as soon as it's made. What makes AI content ownable is modification. And the modification needs to be taken into account and must be transformative by the current copyright laws that exist. It would need to be transformative for you to own it. But here's the thing. The only way to prove that your work is transformative from the base version that the AI gave you, because the AI is giving you this content in the safety of your home, the only way to prove that is you need to show a process from generation all the way to final submission. If you can't or do not keep logs of all of those things, you can never prove that your work is not fully AI generated. And as such, right? And people have clicked that, by the way, Paris. But as such, right? The work is in a dubious state of ownership, which means letting anyone take money for it, maybe letting them take money for work that is essentially public domain, which is not okay. So for the work on, if at all, Quantum Entanglement uses AI assistance in its work, and God, I hope it's just that she's overworked, to be quite honest. If that's what happens, I think fundamentally, it's good. It just puts stuff in a very complicated legal situation in terms of rights, ownership, and copyright, and that kind of sucks. That kind of sucks, in my genuine opinion. That's not a very good place for that to be in, and it means that like her work is just in a dubious location where it doesn't need to be. She would have to have all this evidence to prove that she could own the copyright over it in its final transformed state, and I think that's not not a great time. And we're not going to know what constitutes an owned work. By the way, hey, Ligus Squigus, also known as Long Penis, we're not going to be able to know when the work is like fully owned until what constitutes a fully owned work under this AI situation until freaking my sorry, I just saw a comment in chat. You're not going to know how this work is owned until a lawsuit occurs, until it goes to court and a judge makes a decision, because whatever policy finally comes out will be in flux until it is tested in legal environments. And let's face it, our industry do be broke as fuck. Artists are broke. We are broke as shit. We ain't got money. We ain't got friends. We ain't got fuck all. So the legal is going to be defined by a bunch of other people that aren't typical artists, or by richer artists, and that might not be great for us going forward. So like, and that's what makes me a little bit concerned about this. And that's what made me interested in this, because there's a complex legal situation here, in my opinion. If it is AI generated, if it's AI assisted, sorry. And if it's AI generated, there's a simple legal situation here. She doesn't own it. But I don't think she's done that, because I don't think Sarah is that kind of person. I think she's just overworked. I genuinely want this to be that she's just overworked. She's overworked and she's just made a bunch of mistakes, and people are just reading too deep into them. Her style is incredibly detailed, and if she misses a line here or there, the inconsistencies will pile up. But when people show me things and say that's AI assisted, I see that. It makes visual sense to me. I don't want to sit here pixel peeping for the entirety of this stream, because I think it's a functionless thing. And at the end of the day, it's all conjecture. But I think it's upsetting that like we're here largely because of just not being able to admit whether she's doing it or not in a meaningful way. And like, I don't know, like largely because some dickhead woke up one day and made generative AI tools and fucked over the way that we looked at work forever. That's sad. That's sad. Like, I don't think this is some kind of like, I don't think any artists trying to reduce their workload are bad people, to be very fucking honest with you. This is a massive side note, but I think in the Manga Creator Award of August was given wrong. They gave the prize to 2 Spanish manga instead of 1 for each language. Or is it me? I just noticed. Oh, that's a complete non sequitur. Yeah. Can we please start doing the insert? I want shorter comics with worse art quality and less story per chapter for people who are paid more to do it. And I'm not kidding. Like, I don't think this came about because Sarah is some kind of evil genius. I think it came about because the industry just overworks our artists. We ask for way too fucking much for way too little fucking money, and that's not okay. That's not okay. We created an environment where somebody felt overworked enough to either be inconsistent or to like freaking what you call it, to freaking use AI assistance. That sucks. Oh, that's already happened, dude. That AI, like a kid getting expelled using AI because of AI and AI image generation has already happened. I was there for that, so that's already happened. It was not okay. I can't talk about it for legal reasons, but it was not okay. Oh, that King Kong game that just came out. They only had a year to make it. Yeah, like the industry that we work in is full of a lot of people getting way overworked. And Black and White would have probably helped this a lot. Reduction in the need to do this fucking Sam does art, ambient occlusion shit. I just found out who this guy was today, by the way. I didn't know who Sam does art was before this stream. And I found out about him. And then I found out about his courses. And I found out that they're not generalized enough to allow people to develop their own style. So everyone looks the same. It's not good. Anyway, main thing for me is just like this need to do all this ambient occlusion and all these fucking graphics, make everything look immaculate, is not helping. And like, I think it's affecting the workload, but also I think the workload is insane. I think the workload is insane without that. Like Refrainbow draws a cell shaded comic, a cell shaded flat comic with not that much going on per panel. Bless their goddamn soul. And they have two assistants because that the work is still hard, no matter how much you scale back the art workload. So like it just says a lot that the workload is crazy for everyone. It's not good. It's not good. It's not good that anyone ever feels the need to do any of this shit. And it bothers me. Maybe I'm crazy. Anyway, time for questions. Let's see what questions people left me. Also, remember to go comment on that copyright thing. It's gonna be the pinned comment under this video. Anyone have questions? Anyone want to tell me something? Anyone want to annoy me? Anyone think that I was wrong? Like, I like it when people tell me I'm wrong about the things I'm talking about. Inform me. I remember there was an interview with an anime animator that she said the complicated sparkly eyes in today's anime take as long to animate as an entire scene in old manga. Yeah, it's in old anime. Yeah, that's crazy actually. I'm taking the rest of the year off from Misfit and Maker because I overworked myself. Thank you, Paris. Take a fucking vacation. And then you can finally do the commissions I keep trying to pay you to do. me, all I've been doing, I should say this for Cloudy Magpie. Cloudy Magpie, I've been cooking. I've been cooking something for you to work on. It's only a matter of time. I've been cooking it in my home, stirring the pot, about to throw that money at you. Watch out. Be afraid. I need to not be like this. Yeah, I've been cooking. That's why I took your portfolio, bud. Take a portfolio so I could cook, so I could drop some cash. Because I really liked your art. It actually impacted me a lot, strangely. I talked about it for weeks in private. Good stream. Thank you, everyone, for telling me good stream. I appreciate it. I always appreciate when people appreciate it. And because capitalism does suck. I hope I've been very balanced here because I want to be very clear with this final thing about quantum entanglement. There are no villains here. And I don't think they are a bad person. And I don't think what they've done comes from a bad place at all. Just to be upfront with that shit. Anytime, Cloudy, you're a good artist. Don't thank me. You just fucking, own that shit. I have a question. If AI becomes the norm and let's assume the first target is comics, will we have a Wattpad case where the illusion of lowering the bar will allow for creativity or just a flood of maiden doo-doo? It's going to be the latter, long penis. It's going to be the latter. It always is the latter. When the barrier to entry reduces for any task, the flood of content is often bad. It's just the truth. And I'm not going to lie to you and pretend like it's not. Like, yeah. It's so Jover, dude. It's so Jover. But I should say this, buddy. There is a world where that doesn't happen. And like, as AI becomes more normalized and more genericized and more available, I think proper legislation will really be the key here. If it's legislated so that like AI content cannot be owned in its entirety, even if it's only partially by a human. If nobody can own that copyright, it will remove almost all incentive to make it because you can't make money from it, but you're spending $40 a chapter. And so making it will become a fun thing for people to do for themselves and nothing more. And I don't think that's an issue. I don't think that's bad. I think that would really help, actually. And also, it will really help the policing of AI content. And it will be a very rough couple of months, but I think it will really turn out for the better long term. My only comment is the AI situation is that I'm a bit harsher on her use of AI because including incoming dump. Once she experienced to know enough, she would have known the workload was unsustainable to start. And these are likely the chapters she made during pre-production when the schedule was laxer. And two, I take the training on the other artists' work. There's a clear style shift in the data set more seriously than most people. That's a me thing. That's very valid. I actually take that super seriously. I'm just trying to not paint a worker as a villain. In my opinion, a worker is never a villain, to be quite honest with you. A worker is a victim of circumstance, often. Very rarely are workers villains in this story. They are victims of situations, circumstances, and the environments that breed them. I do not think that her work looks the way it does because she is she just doesn't care. I think the work looks the way it does because she's overworked. Legitimately. Yeah, I wanted to commission you, Paris. I wanted you to draw me an avatar. I've been looking for an avatar because so if you guys remember, I have the wall of cow art. Does anyone even remember this? I have the wall of cow art, and I wanted to commission you to draw me a cow with my avatar in it for the wall. I want to add way more art to this wall. Please keep sending me cow art. I really actually like having this. I love this, and I would love to make more of these. Maybe with other art, maybe with other things, maybe with emojis. I'd love to do that. That'd be fun. Yeah, I don't think Webtoon even is the villain. I think the villain is actually a lot more nebulous, annoyingly. The villain is the way that they make money, which sucks. Anime cow is welcome. Every cow is welcome. Every cow and every piece of fan art is welcome and will go on the wall. It will go on the fridge, kids. Look here. All the art goes on the fridge. Okay? On the fridge. This is our fridge. Oh, it's Lux. Oh, Lux. Yes. Mark. Thank you. Excellent. She can make it a Chinese BL cow. Make him muscular and everything. Yeah. I you know what my number one thing would be? A cow with if somebody gave me a cow that like a strawberry milk cow, that would be a big plus for me. I love strawberries and I love cows. Incredible moment for me. If somebody gave me one that was like a pink cow with like pink dots, highlight of my day, highlight of my month, really. Is there money in webcomics? You can make a 40 other cow. I'll take it. Is there money in webcomics? It seems like platforms generally are losing money, and I just haven't found a way to turn a profit. I will say this to you, Shama. Most platforms make money. There is money in webcomics. It's just that it's been an industry that's been maligned. Because here's the thing, right? And let's talk about how money comes into an industry. Let's talk about games. Games used to be an industry that was very similar. Most of the money was lost in most games. But do you know how games made their money? They continue to develop ways of pushing monetary acquisition. Now, the first way to improve monetary acquisition is to do things like DLCs, right? So us having a fast pass system is very similar. Fast pass, I think, is okay. I think it's a good monetization structure. The idea of being able to pay for early access comic chapters or being able to pay for more comic chapters before everyone else, I'm completely on board with, and I think it is just the idea of paying for a book up front. Great. Games also had the thing of they could sell physical copies once, even though digital versions could be shared, they could sell physical locked copies. And I think that's what we get when we sell physical books. But here's another thing games did that was really valuable. Games diversified their media direction. And as we to differentiating expectations, but here's the thing. Money often comes into an industry when that industry hits the mainstream. And hitting the mainstream often requires you to be able to diversify the way people consume your content in a way that it will reach mom and pa. Essentially, your dumb fuck cousin, whose name may be Kevin or something, right? Or Greg or Jeffrey or Arthur, right? He needs to know that the comic exists. Lore Olympus manages to be this fucking gargantuan powerhouse because, like, you could walk up to a stranger in New York and they might know what Lore Olympus is, right? But games get to be like, but like if you walk up to a stranger in the street these days and you ask them who Ghost from Call of Duty is, they'd be like, oh, that's the guy from Call of Duty. Or they will even know him by face. And like comics make money because like comics make money already, but they will make more money as they continue to diversify their ways of making money. The next stage for any comic for making real money would be if a comic can go from where it currently is to quite literally making a really fucking good animation. Doesn't have to be an animation that makes a bunch of money. Doesn't have to even be successful monetarily, but it needs to be an animation that's so good, right? That it's like, you remember Big Top Burger on YouTube? I feel like everyone in this chat has watched Big Top Burger on YouTube. If you've not, you should. That's an animation from the YouTuber Worthy Kids. If you could make something from like so indie that could hit so hard, that is very valuable. That is very valuable. And that would be the number one thing that would be our next step. Webtoon tried doing it, but most of the anime they made sucked. The only one that was decent was Tower of God, in my opinion. And I think that what we need is a Big Top Burger, but way bigger, way, way bigger. We need one really fucking big one. And I don't think any of the top Webtoons right now on webcomics can do it, but I think we're going to get there soon. And it'll be interesting to see when. Literally, my only sources of income is from Patreon, Webtoon rarely, and Redbubble. I've made like a little over $1,000 this year. Paris, don't fucking knock the shit that you've done. $1,000 is $1,000 more dollars than most other people, and you should be proud of that work that you put in. I want you to feel confident in what you do, because every time you talk about it, and every time I see your work, I know that you're one of the best goddamn artists this side of the Mississippi. You should be proud of that shit. Anyway, from Ligus Squigus, how much could a Webtoon artist make from FastPass? I just can't comprehend it being that much. Isn't it like 50 cents? How many people actually do it? It's complicated. It's very much based on your audience and their accessibility to the currency, and to the essentially accessibility to paying for your comic. It's very complicated. I will say this. The current FastPass dynamic, while I like the idea of FastPass in and of itself, in a vacuum, the current FastPass dynamic is not good, and I do not like it. I cannot talk more on this because it gets into this space where like my job is in the way. Okay? So I can't talk more because I might accidentally say something confidential. But I will say this, the current FastPass dynamic is not okay, even though the current implementation of FastPass conceptually is. I hope that helps you a little bit. And if you want to know how much money that could make, it could make a lot of fucking money. FastPass can be like in the right hands with the right amount of hype behind it and with the right amount of and the right kind of pricing behind it. It could easily be making some creators like thousands a month. But I don't think it makes any current creator thousands a month. Just to be upfront. I don't think it makes any other creator hundreds a month these days, currently. But I know that there is an iteration and a version of it that could be making that kind of money. Oh yeah, I'm going to be playing Everdate on stream, just so everyone knows. I was going to spend, how much is it again? $2,500? I think it's $2,500. Yeah. It's so if you guys don't know, let me just go to the backer kit for this. Everdate, I'm going to be playing Everdate on stream, so that's one thing. I'm actually going to get some friends. But Everdate on backer kit has a few things that you can purchase, because you can actually buy Everdate after the Kickstarter. There is a reward tier for what's called the first beta build access. It comes with all of Monji's books. It comes with a phone background. It comes with access to the game on every device, every platform, and it's $2,500. That's for the first beta build. I was going to buy that, and I went, no. Oh, by the way, I don't think it gets you all the DLC, although I'm pretty sure it gets you all the DLC. But there's already DLC. The game's not out yet, but there's already location DLC and character DLC, like a gender swap DLC, and even a bonus story, and they all cost money. What I'm going to be buying, likely, is I'm really thinking about buying what's called the fourth build beta access. So that will be basically the access to builds before the final one. It costs $69. Nice. Or I'll be buying the third build beta access, which costs $100, because that comes with the game on all platforms, third build beta, and I may even buy all the DLC. I want to play the entire game. I want to play the entirety of Everdate, which is Monji's dating simulator, because I want to review it. Reviews are coming to the channel soon. I'm already doing a comic review that needs to be coming out soon, and the game, and this will be part of me doing more and more reviews. There will be more content where I am talking about comics in a way that isn't long form and big brain. It will be a lot more 10 minutes and easy going. So look forward to that. But yeah, any other questions before I have to leave? Any other questions? You can ask me a personal question too. It's fun. It doesn't have to be about this. But any questions about anything in the industry, about what's going on with the stream, about advice that you might need, please. All that for a dating sim? Yeah, $2,500 is for the executive producer. You get the first beta build access. You get access to all of the books. You get access to the game on like a little flash drive, and you get a phone background. You get a hoodie. I think you even get to spend time with Monji. You get to spend time with her on the launch at the launch party, 30 minutes or something. My gaming VTuber arc, tell me about it. What's my favorite food? These days, I found these these like potato discs that you can like cook up. They're very thin, but too thin, thicker than chips, but thinner than like most other things. And so they cook up in a way where they're kind of chewy, but like they're like crunchy and crisp. Super nice. I've been eating a lot of those, especially because I've been hitting the gym a lot lately. So that's been where I've been at. How was my day? Today was actually not bad. I've been asleep for a lot of it. I'm very overworked, to be very honest. I'm very overworked because I've been working on a lot of very complicated programs for GC, which I think which I personally think will be super valuable for the community. But it just means that I've been kind of like head down basically every day. Swole era, yeah, Mark. My goal is this, Mark. My goal is to look like Sam Sulek in my arms and in my back, and look like Fat Thor everywhere else. I want to be Fat Thor everywhere else, Sam Sulek in the back and in the arms. That's the goal. I basically want to be a blacksmith. I want the blacksmith body type. What comics am I planning on reviewing? I'm actually starting with popular ones first to kind of build my way of talking about it. And also because I don't want to hurt you guys by saying the wrong thing, but I'm okay hurting an originals creator because they get paid. So, you know, that's what I'm starting with. Stuff that's already paid, stuff that's like scanlated. I'm starting with those. Those will be the first couple of videos. We will move into indie stuff later, but I don't want to fucking say the wrong thing to one of you. So I want to build the way of saying it because that's what my review problems have been. And also my reviews are a lot more emotional than they are numerical. I focus a lot more on how it made me feel and a lot less on the numbers. The numbers don't matter. Sammy Pond. So the strong build? Yeah, the strong build. Call me, basically, you know, not Armstrong. You know, the Ed's teacher, Ed and Alphonse's teacher, her husband, his body type, ideal. That's the ideal. What's his name again? Sig. That's his name. Yes, there he is. Here comes the boy. Hello, boy. Like, that is what I want. That's the goal right now. We've been working for it. We've been working towards it. Big SIG goals, to be honest. I love how you said SIG twice, once in caps. Is that everyone's today? Is that everyone's questions? I'm very glad to be back making streams. There's just so much to talk about, so much to do, so much to see. So what's wrong with taking the back streets? All the projects that I've told you guys before about are still underway. And so I'm just always very busy. I'm always doing something. But like, never fail to reach out to me for any questions, any requests, any concerns, anything you want to ask me about. And if you were thinking of getting some kind of like contractual job with GC, I'm not promising you jack shit. But if you have a good portfolio, reach out to me. It doesn't mean anything will happen in the short term or even in the long term, but it means that I can have it on file. These are not guarantees of anything, but I just want to be able to have stuff like that on file because when I want to have conversations about who to reach out to, I know I have that. So make a portfolio, put it on a website or something, or just make it a zip folder and send it to me. I will put them in my folder of other ones, and hopefully, if I have the opportunity to do that kind of thing, I will be able to reach out to you. Just like comic portfolios, all of your comic work. Mark, I miss you so much. I'm coming to J-PopCon next year. It's gonna be me and you, Mark. Me and you versus the world. We'll go to Flam without Lux. We'll abandon her. We'll go to Flam without her. It'll be great. God, I miss Mark so much. Powerful. Yeah, portfolios, comic portfolio. Just show me your comic work. Show me your illustrative work. Show me your writing experience. These are the kind of things I want to do. Am I excited for the Scott Pilgrim anime? I was, and then I saw a version of it. I saw like a trailer, and everything just felt off by a little bit, and I don't know what's wrong. And I guess I'm no longer interested in it now. You're gonna go to a con, Paris? That's so cool. If you're gonna be going to the UK con thought bubble, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be at thought bubble, and I'm also going to be at next year. I'm going to be going to a lot more cons in Europe, and I think I will be at least 2 American cons next year. So that is the thing that I will be doing. But a lot of UK cons, I will be in a lot of UK cons over the next year. I'm going to be going to a lot more on a regular basis. So if you know a con that's happening and you're going to a convention, just tell me. Even if I can't make it, it's good to know so I know the dates. I got my Thought Bubble tickets, so yeah, I'm still going. Oh, I'm going to MCM Comic Con this year as well. So if you're going to that this winter, so if you're going to that, that's there too for you. If you want to hang out, meet up, say hi, etc. That's kind of everything from me today. I'm not popular enough that going to cons means anything, but I do like meeting people. I think it's just nice. It's fun. It's as the kids would say, enjoyable. Is it? Yeah, it's this month. I have tickets, Sammy. If you're gonna be there, let me know. Thought Bubble's November. You're going to DreamCon. Things didn't line up. That sucks, dude. I was supposed to be at NYCC. I couldn't go. It's life, you know. I can't wait to go to NYCC. Probably be next year though. I'll probably be in San Diego next year too if I can get away with it. Brokey, I have an extra Thought Bubble ticket, but I've already given it to somebody, so I'm sorry. I need to actually contact them about that. NYCC was interesting. Did you hear that they called a bomb threat on NYCC? Did you guys hear that? Did you guys know about that? I was on Twitter and our CEO tweeted about it, and I saw that. It was crazy. They called a bomb threat on the last day of NYCC. Why? Why? Such a waste of time. Anyway, I love you all so goddamn much. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to the stream. Please remember I want more viewers. Share the fucking videos to your friends and tell them I'm amazing. Tell them I'm great. Tell them to come and watch me live every day. Thank you to everyone who comments. Comments really do help. Likes really do help. Subscriptions really do help. And generally, just being cool people is the most I could ever ask from you. Also, there was someone who took a poo on the floor by one of the doors at NYCC, and that's the funniest thing I've ever heard in my life. What? What in tarnation? What in tarnation? Anyway, that's all I can ever ask of any of you. You guys have been wonderful people. I need to go make some spaghetti. It's like 12 midnight. I want to go make some spaghetti. I'm actually kind of hungry today. You know. Also, it's not. It's enough, Sim. I'm sorry. Also, if you are working out a lot, if you're working out a lot and you're doing gym stuff and you want to talk about it, reach out. I do like talking about gym stuff lately. Been doing a lot of triceps. I'm very happy about the fact that like every day I get closer to doing a full-on handstand, like incline handstand. I'm loving that about my life right now. All right. Good night.